All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Wedding Chat Wednesday with Wine and Wedding Planners. We are talking honeymoons and destination weddings today. So super exciting topic for a lot of you. I am your host, Michelle Ritchie, and I am the lead planner and manager of the wedding team here at Devoted Columbus. So if this is your first time joining us, just let you know that this is your chance to ask a wedding planner anything about wedding planning. Today, specifically, we're talking about destination weddings and honeymoons. If you started watching us during quarantine, you'll probably notice that we are now hosting Wedding Chat Wednesdays monthly, and that is on the third Wednesday of each month instead of every week, as we had been doing. But I'll let Jamie do the honor of filling you in on what exciting weekly podcast we just started a little bit later. If you are joining us on Facebook Live tonight, we will do our best to respond to your comments, questions, or whatever you decide to post. We love participation. So shoot us all your questions, comments, or just simply stop in and say hi, and we'll respond back to you. So with that, I want to start off by introducing you to my lovely team of wedding day assistants and planners. So I have Tammy, you just give a little wave for me. Rachel. We have Casey, Amber, Jean-Vive, and we have our two wonderful interns, Nicole and Eve. Thank you guys for being here tonight. And now I want to give Jamie a quick couple seconds to introduce herself, our fearless leader.
Thanks for that. Hi, everybody. My name is Jamie. I am the owner of Devoted Columbus, previously Columbus Bride and Groom. And we are a great wedding resource for all engaged couples. We focus on making sure we connect you to some of the best vendors in Columbus. We provide tons of great tips, education, trends, and resources, and we'll kind of get into that later. My background is in wedding planning. I've been a wedding planner for over 20 years. So we brought on this lovely team and this great crew to assist and help you guys along the way for whatever your needs might be. So I hope you enjoyed today's I'm already on podcast. Today's wedding chat on honeymoons. So thanks.
Thanks, Jamie. All right, so now we're to the meat of the program tonight. I want to give a warm welcome to tonight's guests, Jen Kahn and Shannon Aliff of Compass Travel. Jen is the owner and head travel agent of Compass Travel out of Gahanna, who specializes in honeymoons and leisure vacations. And Shannon is a wedding planner by trade, who specializes in honeymoons and destination weddings. Jen, I hear that we have a special treat this evening as you are joining us from Cancun, Mexico.
Yes.
So we are super, super jealous of you. But if you want to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you and your business, and then if you can show us around a little bit if you want to.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can move the computer around a little bit so you can see at least off my balcony here. I'm currently at the El Dorado Casitas Real Resort, which is a great resort for honeymooners because they're kind of like these little casita, cute little villas. So it's a little bit more private and luxurious than some resorts, and a lot of honeymooners really love it. So yeah, I started Compass Travel about 6 years ago, and I've been working in the travel industry for over a decade now, and really wanted to start a travel agency to help younger travelers, because a lot of travel agencies seem more focused towards older travelers. So to help more younger and modern travelers. And Shannon just joined our team here earlier this year.
Awesome. Well, thanks for being here tonight. We are really excited to jump in. Shannon, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got roped in with Jen on destination honeymoons or honeymoons and destination weddings?
Yeah, thank you. So I'm Shannon, and I am a wedding planner by trade. I launched my business a couple years ago, and then I joined Jen earlier this year to add on travel agent services to my packages to try and provide an all-encompassing, experience to clients.
Well, we're really excited to have you. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here tonight. Yeah. We have I'm sure our couples have a ton of questions regarding honeymoons and destination weddings. I think destination weddings might even become more popular as people kind of downsize their weddings. So we're interested to hear. So with that, I think we might just go ahead and jump into questions. So I have my team of ladies who will kick us off. I think, Rachel, you're up.
Hi, Jen and Shannon. I'm Rachel. Nice to meet you virtually. It's super exciting. Can't wait to hear everything you have to offer us. Thank you for taking the time to chat with everyone today. My first question is, why should couples use a travel agent for their honeymoon as opposed to planning it on their own?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of reasons for that. And it really saves the couple a lot of time and stress because a professional travel agent will already know a lot of the things or have easier access to a lot of the information that the couple might be looking for, that it would take them hours and hours to research or try to find on their own. So it's saving them, that time, that money, that stress. And I hear from a lot of couples that there's a lot of information overload out there. They start looking on the internet and there's so much out there and they don't know, what's good, what's bad. You can't really always rely on reviews. And then now with the COVID-19, unfortunately, travel has gotten even more complex. So we can definitely help with that, know the up-to-date regulations on the destinations and the resorts. And we, are continuously training ourselves and everything like that. Also, even after your trip or during your trip, we can also help answer questions or advocate for you if there are problems. And everything like that. And all of this extra service doesn't cost you anything extra with Compass Travel than what you would pay if you booked yourself online.
That's great, especially what you mentioned with coronavirus going on. I know there are so many different travel restrictions to keep track of all those, to make sure you abide by them. I cannot imagine, especially everything going on right now. So when couples are looking for a travel agent, what is one of the most important things they should look out for?
Well, I would say to use a travel agency that can book the same trip in a lot of different ways. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that us travel agents do. There's a lot of different ways we can book the same hotel. And each one of those different ways might have pros and cons to it. One way might be a little bit more expensive, but it's through, a more reputable supplier, or one might be less expensive and it's still through a reputable supplier, or it might be direct to the hotel or the resort. So there's a lot of different ways we can actually book the same trip a lot of times. And you want a travel agent who's going to book it in the way that's best for what you're looking for, or that the couple's looking for. and not just the way they do it for everybody. So I try to book it, for if the couple's looking for the lowest bottom price, or if they're, some people might want a payment plan, or different things like that. So I try to book it in the way that's going to be best for the customer. And also I think technology is really important these days, to have a travel agent who uses technology and not just old school methods. But we have an iPhone and Android app where our clients get their quotes on, and then they also get their final itinerary on that too, and they can even message us through the app while they're in destination if they had a question or something they need to tell us.
That sounds so great. I love itineraries, so this whole app functionality and schedule, I'm all about that. So that is a huge thing for me, and I'm sure it keeps everyone organized and scheduled, and it's literally perfect. That sounds so great to me. What are some top destinations for honeymoons that you've come across, and why are they so popular?
Well, a top destination is really where I'm at right now, which is Riviera Maya area of Mexico, which is kind of the area south of Cancun. Cancun is also somewhat popular itself, but Riviera Maya tends to be even more popular with honeymooners because things are a little bit more spread out. And Cancun has more high-rise buildings and things like that, where this is more low-rise buildings, a little bit more spread out. So it is good for social distancing too. So that is really a popular area, and also it's very affordable. And this area has some of the most all-inclusive resorts in the world, is kind of in this area in Cancun and also in Punta Cana. And a lot of couples want an all-inclusive resort for their honeymoon. So I think this is a great area. Other places in the Caribbean are also very popular, like Jamaica and St. Lucia. And then Hawaii is also very popular too. And there's, of course, no passport issues with Hawaii, which passports are kind of an issue right now. The passport office, just recently reopened, and it's being very slow. And Hawaii is going to finally reopen to travelers on September 1st, they're saying. So they've been kind of slow to reopen to tourists and have been kind of strict. But they're saying that they're going to reopen. And a lot of these areas are going to require testing, at least probably until the end of this year.
Well, thank you so much for answering those questions. Those are the 3 I had for you. So I'm going to pass it over to Genevieve.
Great.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Shannon. Just a couple of questions that I have for you guys. What are some unique honeymoon destinations that you could recommend?
Yeah, there's a lot of unique honeymoon destinations, and a couple can do whatever they want for their honeymoon. So they don't have to just stick to those traditional places. And I do foresee US destinations becoming even more popular right now with those, passport issues, and people not wanting to maybe take as long of a flight right now and things like that. So there are some good locations in the US, like Napa, Colorado, they're popular for honeymoons. But then outside of the US, there's Croatia, which is an area that I really love. And that is great for couples who have traveled in Europe already. So they're kind of already, maybe widely traveled in Europe, or have gone to some of like Spain or France or England, some of the more traditional destinations in Europe already. There's also Iceland, if couples who don't want the beach. I even had a couple go to Iceland in winter once, which I think is kind of crazy, but they really liked the cold, so they were fine with that. And also Thailand for Asia, especially once travel to Asia starts reopening up more in the future. Thailand is a location that's great for honeymooners because it is less expensive than some other areas like Bali or Bora Bora. but it still has that great Asian culture and beaches and everything.
Awesome. Those all of those sound like really fun places. And the mention of Thailand actually segues really great into my next question. Are there any places you would recommend for budget conscious honeymooners?
Yeah, well, definitely, for Asia, Thailand, it's still going to be a little bit bigger of a budget than it would be going somewhere, like here, like Mexico, because the flights are more expensive to get there. But otherwise, once you get there, it's pretty affordable. And like I've mentioned, Mexico, especially the Riviera Maya and Cancun area, is definitely very affordable, but also Los Cabos and Puerto Vallarta on the other coast are also, oh, and here's my margarita. Margarita delivery. So, and then also Punta Cana is also very affordable. And like I mentioned, they have a ton of all-inclusive resorts there as well.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to pass it over to Tammy for some more questions.
Sorry about that. I was muted. Thank you. My first question is, how do travel agents get paid? Are you on a fee for services? Is it commission? Are you paid by the resort?
Mm-hmm. So it can be either way for a lot of travel agencies, but for Compass Travel, we work mostly on commission and really not fee for service. So that's why it doesn't cost you any extra than it would booking yourself online to use our services. So we don't charge service fees for most of our services, except for some rare things like if you're paying with points, or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, so basically you're paying the same price whether you book yourself online or using Compass Travel Services.
Okay. What are the main things you consider when helping clients plan a destination?
Well, budget is definitely a big one. And we really try to stay within a client's budget and to give them the best thing and the best experience and honeymoon that it can get for that budget. And budgets, range pretty widely for honeymoons. And then also travel style is something we consider, like, does the couple want something slow paced or fast paced? Like, do they want to do a trip to Europe where they're changing cities every day or two, or do they just want to lay on the beach all week? And then also things that are what I call deal breakers to the couple, like they have to be at an adults only resort, or they have to be at an all-inclusive resort, or they have to have short flights or something like that.
Okay, great. That makes sense. What are the common mistakes you see couples make when they try to do everything on their own and not use somebody like Compass Travel?
Well, the biggest one I see, even for some couples that use our services but then contact us later, closer to their travel dates, is not booking their honeymoon early enough to get the specific resort or the specific room that they want. Because a lot of times honeymoon couples like really fall in love with a specific room type, but then they can't get that for the dates that they want, or a specific resort. And even now, of course, there's not as many people traveling internationally, so you think there would be more availability, but then there's really not in a lot of places because the resorts are cutting their capacity so that they don't allow more than 30% or 50 or 60% of the hotel to be full. So it is still a problem, and I think it's still going to be a problem going forward. And then now, kind of a newer problem is not knowing what the current coronavirus restrictions and regulations are and how that's affecting travel.
So with everything that you just said, what range do you suggest for when you should book your honeymoon? How far in advance?
Ideally, I would say about 9 months in advance, especially if they're looking for a particular room type or resort and they're really set on that. Airfare prices and schedules.
Jen, I think we lost you. Don't know if you can hear us.
Wonder if Shannon can take over where she left off.
Yeah, I think so. Listening to Jen, it sounds like she was talking about airfare schedules and pricing, and kind of when that would be the best time as far as those two things would be to book the honeymoon.
All right, thanks. And then I just have one last question on that. So you see today where a lot of the airlines are refunding flights. Do you offer assistance with if somebody has to cancel because of COVID? Or are you seeing resorts being flexible with that as far as refunding deposits or any money that's been paid?
Sure, yeah, absolutely. There's always the availability for clients to have insurance added. So even with, the current situation, I think the resorts and airlines have been, flexible with refunding or vouchers, things like that. And it looks like Jen's back, so welcome back.
Yeah, sorry, it just totally cut out there for a second, but I'm back.
Got you covered. Shannon in for the win on that one.
Well, thank you. I'm gonna turn it over to Amber for some.
So it looks like we do have a couple questions in the chat before I let Amber jump in here. So Amber did say Down to Earth with Zac Efron on Netflix, did an episode on Iceland, and now she's completely sold. So you can book her trip to Iceland. She'll need your help. And another question came in, and it was, how do you help couples who want to travel to a country where they don't speak the language? And I'll add an additional thought on that. What about customs, like that country's customs? How do you help in that?
Yeah. Well, it's easier to travel around these days now with a lot of technology when you don't speak the language, because like if you have your cell phone, you can even download the languages on Google Translate. You don't even need to be connected to the internet. But also I would usually advise clients who, don't speak the language and haven't been to a country before to kind of stick to those touristy areas. And a lot of times people don't, kind of don't like the idea of sticking to touristy areas, but that is where a lot of the workers are going to speak English or speak some English, and where it's going to be a little bit safer there than going out somewhere where you don't know where it is. But I think it's pretty easy these days now, luckily, to travel to countries where you don't know the language and the customs. And of course, we can, help you with some of the customs if for places that are very different. And there's also apps for that too, where you can kind of study up a little bit about the culture in Thailand before you go there, for instance.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. We could probably ask you questions all day, but I think we got to turn it over to Amber and talk about destination weddings.
Hi, ladies. Okay, so just a quick aside, personal experience. Jen helped me and my husband book an anniversary/birthday trip to Riviera Maya last year, and it was amazing. So she is not lying when she says that it is an amazing destination to go to. But with that being said, I'm actually going to shift to Shannon a little bit, and let's talk about some destination wedding options. What are your top picks for destination weddings and why?
Yeah, sure. So I would say Mexico. Mexico doesn't have a waiting period and it's really affordable. So, clients with any kind of budget, we can find something to fit within that. The other one, I would say Jamaica too. They're more affordable along the lines of Mexico, but both of them have beautiful scenery and resorts that couples can enjoy.
Okay, perfect. And then what do you think are some of the most important things to consider when couples are deciding if they want to do a destination wedding?
Sure. The first one being is, the guests that they would like to be there. Are they able to go? Do you have a small bridal party that you want to be in attendance? Do you have, a certain number of family members that you want to be there? Can they make it? The other one would probably be, and sometimes I think, you think, oh, a destination wedding, but then you're already somewhere and you're like, what about my honeymoon? So, do you want your wedding and your honeymoon in the same place? Would be my two things.
Okay. And you did mention about family coming. Do families typically pick up their own everything there, or does the couple ever pay for parts of that with having their family come to a destination, or how does that typically work?
I think that just depends on the couple, what the budget is, kind of the situation between the family. Sometimes the couple will cover the costs, and then other times, whoever they ask to be in attendance, they usually will say up front, if you can afford this, we would love to have you there. It can work both ways.
Gotcha. And then my last question for you is, what is your specific role in planning the destination wedding?
So really it's to help the couple choose, the best location and the best resort within their budget and to fit their needs and what they're looking for. And to really act as that liaison between the couple and the resort, trying to help them plan for their wedding day down there or wherever they are.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. And I am going to pass it over to Nicole.
And also, I just wanted to throw in there that we also do a lot with helping the guests and making their bookings for the destination wedding. So that's less that the couple has to do because they can contact us for making all those payments and asking travel questions instead of contacting the couple.
Okay. Hi. So my question is, what are the main things that you want couples to know about destination wedding planning?
I would say that they're usually less expensive than having kind of a typical wedding, on location or here. You have fewer guests, so whether you pay for them or they pay for themselves, that can still help kind of stay within a budget and make it cheaper. I feel like destination weddings kind of give it a more intimate feel because you have the fewer guests. You're kind of off location. You're somewhere on a beach, in the mountains. I feel like it provides that just that intimate touch for the couple too.
Yeah, I like that. I like the idea of an intimate, family, close friends. So, yeah. So my other question is, what is a big misconception about planning a destination wedding?
I think the biggest thing is that destination weddings, the ceremonies are not usually legally recognized in the United States. I'd say that's the biggest thing.
Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you for your answers, and I'm going to send it over to Casey.
And I just wanted to clarify that's the misconception is that it's not legally recognized in the US, but it is usually recognized in the US. Is the true answer.
really excited when they said that we were doing like honeymoons and destination weddings this week, because I am actually supposed to be a September bride, but we postponed it to July of next year. And because of that, I actually get to plan a honeymoon with it. So I'm super excited. All really good information so far, especially you mentioned Napa, and that's kind of where we're looking. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, I know everybody is probably just dying to travel right now, and
yeah, for sure.
Even if not leave the country, go somewhere.
For sure. I think that's kind of part of our thought with it, because we don't have passports, and just Napa sounds wonderful. But so my first question for you guys is, what are some things that have changed with your industry due to COVID-19?
And I guess I'll take that one. So much has changed. And the thing is, it's always changing. I even hear from some other travel agents who have been in the industry for, 30 or more years, that they feel like they're a new agent all the time, because we've never seen anything like this. Even after 9/11, I wasn't in the travel industry then. I was in high school, but it was, things were really changed a lot, but this is even more of a change. So things are a lot more complex, and things are always changing. Like, all the suppliers are always changing their policies on almost a weekly basis, it seems like sometimes. And then, everything is kind of different traveling, just like it is at home, where you have to wear masks in a lot of places. A lot of the resorts are not requiring masks right now from the guests, especially the ones that are more spread out. The staff is all wearing masks though, or they want you to wear masks like to check in, and then you can take it off. But some of the resorts are requiring that now. It just kind of depends what area you're in. Lots of temperature checks everywhere. And that it's hard to get a passport right now. And that's really detrimental for a lot of people who want to travel internationally and might be willing to take that little bit of a risk, but then they can't, because they can't get their passport renewed or get a new passport.
Yeah, there's definitely unprecedented times right now. Everything's kind of crazy. Due to all of these changes though, is there anything that you would recommend that you maybe wouldn't have recommended in the past for our engaged couples?
Mm-hmm. Well, we've always recommended travel insurance, and we definitely recommend that now, even though most of the policies don't cover like coronavirus related changes and cancellations. Still, we've seen a lot more interest in people wanting travel insurance, even though they know it doesn't cover that, just because there is a lot of other things that it can cover. And it's kind of more in the media, and people are talking about it more. And also, we are encouraging more, and trying to let our clients know which suppliers do have more flexible cancellation or change terms and conditions right now than others. And Southwest Airlines has always been good for that in the past, but of course, they still are. But a lot of the other airlines are also becoming a little bit better with flexible changes and cancellations. We're not sure how long that's going to last or not. This is definitely the longest I've ever seen it last, because even with hurricanes and things like that, usually the airlines will only let you change your flight if it's like that day that the hurricane is coming, with no fee. So nothing like this that's gone on for months. It's really, really interesting.
That is really interesting to hear. So then my last question, what is the last piece of advice that you would give our engaged couples?
So I know a lot of engaged couples really are interested in an all-inclusive resort on the beach. That's kind of the most popular thing. But I would also say if they might be interested in thinking about if they would like a non-all-inclusive resort, either on the beach or somewhere else, because there are so many islands that either don't have all-inclusive resorts at all or have very few. So if they really want to go somewhere that doesn't have a lot or any, like Hawaii, or some other islands in the Caribbean, or Europe or Thailand or somewhere else, they're really locking themselves out of those locations if they only want to do an all-inclusive resort. But we also understand that a lot of couples just want to kind of relax and do nothing on the beach, and have that all-inclusive resort experience after a stressful wedding.
That totally makes sense. Thank you so much for answering my questions, and I'm going to pass it back over to Michelle.
Awesome. So I have a few questions that I was thinking of, and I put them in the chat on the side. So you answered a few. So I have a couple questions for Shannon. So first question is, in the case that you're working with a resort for a destination wedding, and some of the resorts, at least from what I've seen, offer like a coordinator on site or someone who at least helps from afar. Do you do a lot of coordination with them via email or phone call to make sure everything is what the client wants?
Yeah, so that's kind of where we do that liaison. We act as that liaison between. So we would definitely deal with the resort, the coordinator, whether it is email or by phone. Just any way that we can stay in touch to make sure that we can ensure their day is going to be as seamless as possible.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was curious about that because I know as wedding planners, we know when there are two coordinators in the mix at any given wedding, a venue coordinator and a wedding planner, we have to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page. I'm sure it's a little bit different, especially with language barriers, or they have their process down to a pat, and it's they don't need us to jump in as much, but I'm sure there's still some sort of coordination that goes on.
Well, and knowing the clients, knowing what your clients want, I think that's where it really helps too, because then you can, you can give them that you can communicate with them to give them that information, because you know what the client wants. And, I'm sure that they need, run things a certain way, but then you can make sure that you incorporate both.
Yeah, absolutely. So with resorts, I know I keep hitting on resorts, just because that all-inclusive feel. I know that some resorts do offer some perks if you if you do your ceremony there, or ceremony and reception, or if you you book a few nights, you get a ceremony free. I mean, what are some of those things that couples should look for if they're looking to save some money but also get all those perks?
Yeah, sure. So I think it just depends on what they're looking for. Each, the resorts that I've seen, they all have, different level, different style packaging, depending on how many guests are with the couple, if they have music, if they need floral work, all those things. And some resorts actually will let couples bring vendors in for their items for a small fee. So, you can kind of look both ways, and definitely ask those, we can ask those questions and get that information for them.
And I will
That's
say,
awesome.
Sandals resorts are usually good for elopements. I recommend that, especially if it's just like the couple themselves and no guests, or, maybe only a couple guests, because they actually give a free wedding, like a free basic wedding. Where it's kind of like, basic flowers, the officiant and everything like that. So it's great, for just an elopement, to have that option.
Yeah, so the moral of the story is, there's so many different options, but they should be thinking about all of these things as they are planning their honeymoon or their destination wedding. I did have a question for you, Jen, and then I'll pass it over to Jamie. She has a few for you guys, but we always think about all-inclusive resorts as the best way to go to save money, but something that crossed my mind was, it might actually be more budget friendly to not go all inclusive in some places, right?
Yeah, in most places, it actually is more budget friendly though to go all inclusive, unless unless there's a huge thing that's included that you're not really going to use, and especially alcohol. Like if neither person in the couple drinks any alcohol, or if one person doesn't drink, then often it's not really more cost effective to do all inclusive, because alcohol is so much of a big part of that, all inclusive fee. But otherwise, usually it is more budget friendly to do all inclusive, especially in the main areas where they have all these all inclusive resorts. Because a lot of people who don't stay at an all inclusive resort are, you have to travel off site more to go to restaurants and things like that if you don't want to eat at the resort's restaurants all the time. So that adds into, transportation fees and stuff like that to get around. But I would say that the only places where it is more budget friendly not to do an all-inclusive are places that don't have a lot of all-inclusive resorts. Like Aruba actually doesn't have a ton of all-inclusive resorts, and the resorts that are not all-inclusive there are way better than the all-inclusive resorts. So that's one example.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why you hire a travel agent, because they can tell you all the tricks of the trade. So there you have it. So I'm going to pass it over to Jamie so she can answer some of her questions.
So I didn't hear anything about cruises. Is it off the plate right now, or what are cruises like?
Oh my God. Well, it's we don't know what's going to happen with cruises. The CDC just pushed back their cruising ban to the end of September now. So we know we won't have cruising until at least the end of September. But also a lot of countries and places have already even blocked cruise ships from coming in until next year, or some even like mid next year. So cruising is not really as popular now as it has been. I think it will come back once things get better with the virus, because it is such a great value in a lot of ways and such a great way to travel. But I don't think it's going to be very popular until things kind of start to come back and get better with the virus, like till we have a vaccine or something like that.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I was afraid you'd say all that.
Yeah, so. I know. I love cruising too, so it's sad. So but and really I think the media blew a lot of the cruising cases out of proportion. If you look at the actual numbers. But I think the thing that's most scary to people is getting trapped on a ship for 2 weeks or more. Oh, yeah. So that really scared a lot of people, I think.
That is scary. Who would want to be trapped? Oh my God. Sounds awful. So with that, you're at this resort right now. You are at an all-inclusive resort. Have you seen anything different, because it's unlimited food, with how they've dealt with their food in COVID? I was just curious.
Yeah, well, a lot of the places have either stopped doing buffets, or they're still doing buffets, but they're all server served instead of self-service. So now you can't pick up those tongs yourself and grab something. It's all somebody else serving you, which is fine in my opinion. So that's the big difference, I think, with the food and the buffets.
Okay. So I would like you to book my 30th anniversary next year at Riviera Maya. Right?
Oh, great.
I'm going. And also to Casey, I've been to Napa, and it's amazing. I mean, that was one of our stops before our Hawaii honeymoon. We stopped at Napa first, and I wish we would have stayed longer. So it's amazing. So good choice there, Casey.
I'm sure you had fun in Hawaii though too.
Oh yeah, I did, yes.
I looked online and it looked amazing, but I might be getting in touch with you because trying to plan it myself, I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's really overwhelming being from California and having gone some of those paths to Napa and Sonoma. Yeah, you need a travel agent who can give you the right direction on those wineries, and a limo. You're going to need a limo.
I definitely recommend
sure.
the wine train, and the wine train has lots of different options. Like you can do some tastings, or they have a lunch or a dinner. That's really cool.
That sounds great. I will be looking you up shortly.
So
Well,
fun.
guys, in the interest of time, does anybody else have any questions for our lovely ladies, Shannon and Jen?
And I was gonna say, I can move the computer here and open the blinds and give you a quick look outside my balcony to tease you.
Okay, pizza.
Let's see, yeah, here's the balcony, so you can see the water out there a little bit. It's starting to get dark a little bit here, or the sun's starting to go down a little bit. But yeah, it's really an awesome balcony here.
Can't hear her, but we like seeing it. Yes. You're gonna take me off gallery view.
Oh, that looked beautiful. We're so jealous. All of us, everybody listening to this right now, just we love you, but we also hate you.
We want to be there.
It's okay. Yeah.
And Butler delivered margaritas. Like, come on.
Well, that was my boyfriend, but he's the dealer.
Different.
But there is room service.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, guys, I thank you again for being here with us tonight. I know that this is going to be an amazing video for our engaged couples to listen to. If they're not listening to us live, feel free to share this wherever you would like to. I'm going to shoot this over to Jamie to wrap us up. And if you'd like to stay after we're done with this to just give us some feedback, that's awesome.
Oh, great. I'm not muted. Okay. I did put some comments of things that really resonated in the Facebook group. So definitely the passports. I think engaged couples really need to consider that. I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it today. So I've added a couple things there. Feel free to add your comments as well. But again, Devoted Columbus is here to help you guys. We do have many resources for you. I'm going to rattle off our quick resources. We have the Wedding Experience, which is our show coming up in October. We are going live unless we are told not to, but we will have a virtual show alongside of it. We also have our wedding planning guide. I wish I had one here to show you, but you can pick up a physical copy here in the Resource Center, or you can get it on our online vendor directory. We have wedding planning and wedding day assistance, which are an extra pair of hands on the wedding day, and planners if you need a little more help. We have a digital coupon book. Actually, the coupons, you just sign up on the online wedding directory and you get a bunch, thousands of dollars of coupons. So you don't want to miss out on that. We have a wedding resource library, which is now open. Just wear your masks. Come on in, and we're here to help guide you to whatever needs you have. That is a free resource, along with our Facebook group. So Ohio Brides Helping Brides, which I've shared to that one tonight. The resale markets, we do have several of these throughout the year, which are big wedding garage sales. And the Facebook groups are great for speaking with other engaged couples that are here in Ohio. And then our latest addition is Devoted to the Dirty Details, our new podcast. So we dish some of the fun things, and there's several of us chatting. The first one was great content, a little rough on video, so forgive us. We're only going to get better from here, but check it out. We have another one airing next week. You can find them on Spotify, and we look forward to connecting with you guys and helping you in whatever way we can. So thanks for being with us tonight.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
tuning in, and we will see you next month.
Bye.